Let's do this, people.
Okay.
All right.
I'm getting more nervous now.
Are you ready to play our new theme song?
Yes.
Now?
All right. Welcome back to Important Library Stuff, a podcast where library staff and our very special guests share the inside scoop on all the stuff that happens at Prince William Public Libraries. And trust us, it's a lot of stuff. I'm your host, Emily Bickers, media specialist from the Office of Communications and Marketing, and I will be joined each episode by fellow guests who know a lot more on each episode's topic than I do, which for this episode is our YA book boxes and other resources for young adults. Later in the episode, I will be joined by our staff expert, Roseanne Northjack from Manassas City Library. First, though, I'm very excited to be joined by our teen experts from Central Library's TAG, or Teen Advisory Group, Abigail and Hamera.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, how excited are you guys for this?
I'm stoked. I've been waiting all week for this.
Me too. Like, ever since we actually knew this was going to happen, I've been waiting for it.
Yes, I agree.
To start us off, since we're at the very end of 2023, what were the top 3 books you read this year?
For me, first Diary of Anne Frank. I had to read that one for school. It was so good. My friend Anne Frank, which I'm finishing reading right now. And then I think A Girl Named Bicycle I read for my school's book club. It was a really good book.
Awesome.
For me, I had to really remember that this year doesn't mean since August. So I remember that I read King of Scars a few months ago, and it's really good. I'm going to start reading the second book. I read Red Queen a few weeks ago for like a project in school. And for my third book, it would be Gilded, which I read over the summer by Marissa Myers.
Excellent picks. I wanted to ask, because our listeners may not know, what exactly is a teen advisory group or TAG?
So it's basically a way for teens to get to know other teens in the area and also get volunteer hours.
And also, like, you can just make it a better experience for teens because no one knows teens better than teens do.
And also you can do some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Why did you join TAG at Central?
I first joined because I realized for the past few years I've been really lacking my community service hours for school. So I was like, you know what? This will be perfect community service hours. I'll get it done before the end of the school year. So I joined this thing, but it turned out more fun than I thought it would be.
I enjoyed volunteering at the library, and also getting to know other teens my age. So I just maybe this might be a good opportunity to get volunteer hours.
I had no idea what this would be. Because I was just like, TAG, what does that stand for? You know what? Let me just do it. And I had no idea what it meant until I was actually at the meeting.
When I started earlier this year online, I'm like, okay, but I would like to know what it would be like in person. So.
Did you two know each other before?
No.
Oh, cool. So it's a good way to make friends.
I'm homeschooled and she goes to book school.
Yeah.
Awesome. So besides creating podcasts, what other kinds of things have you done as a group?
We've made cheese boards. That was so much fun.
Yeah. We've also started trying to make programs for our library. So we've made we didn't actually plan it. We gave the idea to have an escape room at our library since we haven't had that here before, and they're really fun. Also come up with ideas for in the spring to have for the Comic-Con at our library. And just many ideas that we're trying to get into circulation.
We've also done lots of crafts in the makerspace. Because we're in the makerspace, obviously we need to do crafts.
Yeah, that is a good point. We are recording this from Central Library's makerspace, and they have their own podcasting equipment. So if you're listening and want to make your own, come on down. So how much of a commitment is it to be in TAG? Is it a lot of work?
No, you just need to commit hour and a half a month, which will be, I would say, the best hour and a half of your life.
I agree. It's you just come up with ideas. If you had ideas from the last meeting, you add on to them. You make some kind of craft.
Hang out with teens.
You get to talk to everyone else. And then you just leave. It's not that much. It's not like you have to follow up much even outside the meetings. For some things that you plan for, you do. But most of the time, you just chill. Just be.
Plus there's treats.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's always a good draw.
The treats are the best part.
What would you say is your favorite part?
My favorite part would probably be making the crafts because I knew our library had a makerspace, but I never bothered to actually do stuff here. And now I'm here and doing stuff. I'm like, wow, why didn't I do this before? I could have done this a long time ago.
So making friends, learning new things, sounds like a great time. Currently, there are teen advisory group meetings regularly at Central, Manassas City, Montclair, and Potomac libraries. Do you have any advice or inspiration to share to other young adults thinking about joining their libraries, Tag?
If you think that there's something at your library that you want to change, especially for teens, then you should definitely join and put your idea out, because it's never just good to hold it in.
And I'm homeschooled, and it's really hard to find well-rounded people my age. So being able to make friends has been really helpful.
There's this big bubble in my school. So whatever happens at our school stays in our school. We never talk to kids outside of our school. So this is one big thing that I can do to actually talk to people.
The kids in my school are all over the state of Virginia. So there may be a kid I see in class. I'm oh, I want to meet them. And they live in Roanoke.
Yeah.
So I'm that isn't really that helpful.
Never mind.
Yeah, right. See you on Zoom.
Yep, pretty much.
So anything more you want to add about Tag, your experiences?
I would say the Manassas City one's also really good. It's an hour, and you get to, at Manassas City, you do a lot more hands-on stuff out in the library. We find books for the book displays, dress up the penguin, and we do a bunch of fun stuff.
Wait. You guys dress up Manny? You're the originators?
Yep, we dressed them. We actually dressed him up as Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games.
I saw. He looked amazing.
Yeah, one of the girls braided his hair.
I mean, that's like a perk of joining, really.
Yeah. Plus, you get free snacks.
Okay, tell me more about the snacks since you brought them up twice now.
At Central, it's cookies and donuts.
It's good stuff.
Which I really like because they're braces friendly. And also stuff I would actually eat because I'm very picky about sweets.
So besides Tag, there's a lot of special programs and collections for young adults throughout our libraries. One that may not be known as well are our YA book boxes, which are designed for ages 12 to 18 and available to be picked up at any branch. Have either of you checked out a YA book box?
I have.
What was in it?
So I got my YA book box yesterday, and I was this is nice. There are 2 books. One you're gonna have to end up returning, but one you get to keep. And there's a bunch of snacks and candy, and you have to fill out a survey, and on the survey you can say whether you want hot chocolate or water or tea, and it puts it in there. And yeah, it's just really nice.
In mine, I got a bunch of cute stickers, and I think I got some buttons and some really cute stuff.
And you get it by filling out the survey online?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That seems easy. How customized was it based on your responses?
Mine wasn't really that. Well, the thing is, I wasn't really very specific, so I just said braces friendly. So they gave me another butter, which I'm not really a nut person. So I was Mom, you can have it.
For me, I was I'll take any candy in there. I'll take it. It's candy. But for the book, I was really surprised how customized it was, because it was that customized that the book in it was already a book that I've already read. So I was wow, that's crazy. This is a very good idea that you could actually find that out, because I recently read the book. It was Red Queen, and I was it was a good thing I looked at the box before I left, because I was oh, I already read this. Can I switch it out?
Were they able to switch it out for you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got 2 books, Days of Infirmary, I think that's how you pronounce it, and the Librarian of Alcatraz, I think it is. They were both really good books. I really liked the Days of Infirmary one because it was more like a nonfiction book, which I really liked.
So would you guys request one in the future?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel if I'm just in the need for a book but I have no idea what to do, I'd request one.
Yes. Usually I can just come to the library and pick up books. I literally just walked around the library today and got 3 books, so...
I can't do that. I can only pick out a book in the library if I'm specifically looking for the book. I can't just stroll around this looks interesting. I have to actually know what I'm looking for.
I pretty much have a couple series that are my go-to, American Girl, Who Was. I have 80 Who Was books at home. I have quite a collection of them.
Oh, I kind of didn't realize there was a young adult section in the library until a few weeks ago, because I was always in the back where all the other books are, and I was is there any book that I can actually read? And then I realized there's this big teens, and I'm this was here the whole time.
What about other things besides the books and the YA book boxes, obviously, and the tag groups. Any other like teen resources you think people should know about?
There's a bunch of volunteer opportunities. I got to dress up as a unicorn for Unicorn Day. It was so much fun.
Excellent.
There's craft events. There's escape room. There's a bunch of stuff. It's just going onto the website and just looking at it.
What has been your favorite program or event?
I would have to say the escape rooms. I like that you can add people, so I got to do it with my best friend. And then laser tags are really fun, too. I love
Laser tag is really fun.
They burn some energy. You get to run in the library after hours.
Yeah.
Break some rules. Well,
Break
not,
some rules.
Not really, but the running rule you get to break.
Yeah.
So what about our larger programs, winter and summer reading? How was that experience as a teen?
I love the summer reading. I always fill it out in like the first 2 weeks. I remember last year I started mine and like before it started, I turned it in like the first day. Like I'm done, and they're like, half the people haven't even gotten to come get theirs yet.
That's funny because I've never done winter reading. I didn't know that was a thing, but I did this last summer one, and I read a lot, especially if it's fiction, especially if it's fantasy. I read a lot, so I finished the whole thing, and it was like, oh, you get a gift card. You get this coupon.
I didn't know there was winter reading, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't know they had winter reading.
Our last podcast episode's on it. So, and yeah, it's going through January 31st, so you have plenty of time to sign up.
Ooh. Okay, it'll probably take me just 2 weeks to do it anyway. No problem. I've been doing the summer reading since as long as I can remember, since I was like before the renovation. I remember when I was like 3, my favorite toy was books.
Your favorite toy was books? Would you play with the books?
No, I would read them, then quiz my parents.
That would be fun. You know, I'd just be the kind of person who'd read it, and I'd need to talk to someone about it. So I'd talk to my parents and just ramble on about what happened and my feelings about what happened. And they'd just be like, okay, I'm not that deep into a book, but sure.
I'm sure they're happy for you. Happy
Whatever
that
you
you're
say.
reading books.
Yeah, I do read books. Just my dad's trying to make me read more nonfiction, but those are boring. I don't know if you would disagree with me.
I like nonfiction.
Okay, but I don't. I can't keep my attention span will not last in nonfiction.
Have you
just won't.
tried? There's this. My favorite book is. I can't believe I didn't say this when you asked my 3 favorite books I read this year. My favorite book that I read this year is Chasing Space by Leland Melvin. It was really good, and I think you would really like it.
Chasing Space?
Yeah, it's space. He was an astronaut. I love space.
You should try narrative nonfiction. Have you heard of that?
Or it's like nonfiction, but it's like fictional nonfiction. So it's like,
Well, it's written like a story.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. I like memoirs and stuff like that, but just like straight up nonfiction. Just
Chasing
with the
Space.
informational text. Nah.
Chasing Space is like a narrative.
Thank you both so much for answering all my questions.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you for joining us for part 2. I am now joined by Roseanne Northjack, librarian technician at Manassas City Library. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. First of all, what were your top 3 books this year?
So these are all from my Goodreads 5-star rated books from this year. How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult and Jennifer Finney Boylan. So 3 very different books, but they all stood out to me as being very, very excellent, and I recommend them constantly.
Excellent picks. I have a bonus question for you since we're on a YA episode. Do you happen to have 3 YA books to recommend?
Absolutely. Sabriel is the first book in the Old Kingdom series by Garth Nix and has been one of my favorite books ever since I was a teen. Jarrett Krzas, I can never pronounce his name correctly, and I Googled it like 4 times. Jarrett Krzaska's graphic novel memoir called Sunshine, How One Camp Taught Me About Life, Death, and Hope, and Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare, which is as ridiculous and as fun as it sounds.
Well, those sound like a lot of fun.
They are a blast.
Do you think public libraries do a good job at reaching out to young adults, particularly homeschooled young adults who don't have access to a school library?
I would say so. From my conversations with my colleagues, our branches really do have a great relationship with their homeschool groups, and they rely a lot on the library for materials for lessons that they're doing, spaces to study, meetups, and just finding things to pleasure read. So we had a lot of homeschool meetups recently that I've heard were very successful. And that's a great way to reach out to parents and teens and kids because they all come in together, and so you can kind of service them all at once. It's getting them to come on their own to a program that can be challenging. On a positive note, one of my colleagues at Haymarket has started taking a craft to her local high school to do at lunch, and she's gotten 25 teens to stop by each time she's done it. And she says the librarians there are very enthusiastic and it's excited about her coming, and they promote her. So it's really your mileage may vary.
Yeah, especially, I mean, younger teens or older teens who don't have cars, like they can't drive themselves to the program. So it makes sense meeting them where they are. Yeah, definitely helps.
Yes, absolutely.
What areas do you think public libraries could improve on to reach out to teens? I know you already, were talking about some of them.
It doesn't matter how great your outreach is. If you don't have a space where the teens feel welcome, then they're not going to come. Or if they are, they're not going to come back. So think about things like, are teens encouraged to browse? Do they have a space where they can do that? Can they relax, read, or do homework? And is there signage that says this space is reserved for them? And is there staff enforcement to support this? Is there comfortable furniture? How do other staff and patrons treat teens when they're in the branch or when they're attending programs? And creating this environment doesn't have to be a big thing. I know Bull Run recently went through a big renovation, and they have a beautiful space now that's just for teens. But if this isn't something that you can do at your branch, you can just add things like beanbag chairs or even just a table and chairs. Even just small changes like that can make a huge difference. And once you've kind of focused on that, then you can move toward a next step, which could mean adding passive book displays or monthly challenges. And what your end goal should be is creating something that will make them not only stop by, but to linger.
Absolutely.
I understand, establishing a space for all, especially when you work in a space like Manassas City and sound echoes. And so it's sometimes harder to kind of create that workspace where people need to study and concentrate, especially if you don't have study rooms or dedicated spaces like that. But to me, when teens are loud, I really love that because it tells me so much about them. It tells me that they're excited, that they're expressing their passions, they're learning, and they're having fun. And that is what's going to make them want to come back to the library and relive that experience. You have to remember these teens are going to turn into adults. And if you want them to be recurring or returning patrons, you want their experience in the library to be as welcoming from the moment they walk in to the moment they leave. My first teen advisory group was outside the library at Osborne Park High School because the librarian and I had discussed how difficult it was to get teens to come to the library. So she offered me a chance to come to her book club and do like a mini tag during her biweekly book club. And she would introduce me and promote the library programs. And then I would do different traveling tag activities with them and cross-promote my tag and things that were happening at Chin Park, which might be the closer library to them. And I had such great success with it, and it helped bring exposure to the library and build up the tag program at my branch. I think I had at my first one maybe 0, and that was with no marketing. And then after this, towards the end of my time at Bull Run, I was going on about 15 kids strong. And a lot of the teens that are in my current teen advisory group tell me, because every time I see a new teen, I ask them, how'd you hear about this program? And a lot of them will say, oh, we saw this flyer in the library. And then some of them will say, well, I heard about it from my friend. And so word of mouth is really its own form of marketing and advertising that we can't afford to overlook when we're programming with teens.
Yeah, it's definitely the best way to, get them to be recurring too, is if they can already have friends there or meet new friends there, then they want to go to the meetings.
I'm pretty sure I had an incentive at Bull Run when I ran the tag there that if you brought a friend with you, you would get like a piece of candy or something like that. And it worked. I had the teens like bring friends with them, or they would bring their siblings if they were close enough in age. And some of them stayed and some of them didn't, but it got newer kids into the library that maybe hadn't been there before.
So briberies also.
We're gonna get more on that a little bit later, but teens are very food motivated. I became known as the feeder librarian because I would just have teens wander in, not at the public library, but in the high school, they would wander in and be like, "Oh, I'm hungry." I'm like, "I have this bag of snacks in my drawer," and I know there's a lot of don't eat in the library, but they're hungry. I'm like, "Here's some food."
Of course, one of the best ways to know what young adults want at their library is to ask them. And this is where our teen advisory groups or tags become so helpful. So you run the teen advisory group at Manassas City Library, right?
That's correct. And I also ran the teen advisory group at Bull Run Library for about 4 years.
What kind of things have the Manassas City and Bull Run tags done?
They would actually run programs for me, and I would start them off kind of small. So I would say, this teen is in charge of reading to dogs. And they would also, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have these older teens kind of either let the younger children read to them or they would read to the kids. And it would just be kind of this great mentoring experience and this positive attention from an older teen. And so the teens would have these sign-up slots, a lot like reading to dogs, and the kids would sign up and then they would read to them for 5 minutes. So they would kind of participate low-key in programs like that. Some other things we've done are shared library programs. So I had them do the Holiday Smiles promotion recently at our last meeting, and they also voted in our Best Pet Costume Contest on Halloween at Manassas City. They helped me prep for programs, like when I had a Mario Kart program, they helped me set up and test out the switches. The coolest thing I think that we've done so far at Manassas City is we go to Giant and we did outreach for the strategic plan. So we got permission from the manager and we set up a table outside and we asked patrons going in and out if they wanted to contribute their feedback to the strategic plan. And some of the teens were very outgoing with that and others were a little more introverted. But I kind of strived to give everybody a role with that, and they loved it. They do, we have monthly teen challenges, and they help me assemble craft kits for our Teen Crafternoon. We still do a passive monthly program for teens where we have a take and make, and they help me put that together. We're setting up displays, and we kind of are brainstorming. We're thinking about ideas like spring, and then somebody mentioned Girl Scout cookies, and then I just ran with it. I said, let's do a cookie pairing with the different cookie flavors and then book genres. And then the teens just started matching them up, being like, I think this would go with this. And we have a penguin mascot, so we're either going to dress him up as a giant cookie or a Girl Scout, but probably both. And they're going to be in charge of it. And so I'm going to walk them through how to pick out books and things like that. So I really like getting TAG involved in what the library does with our mission, our vision, and our values, and helping them see that they can make this space be something for them.
That's amazing. What's your favorite part of running TAG?
The teens, 100%. If you can't tell, I love working with teens. They are the reason I do what I do. Over the years, I've had so many great groups of teens in TAG, and it amazes me how brilliant and unique and creative they are. And I love getting to know them and seeing how they insert their own talents into library programs. And I just want to encourage them to be their best and give them a welcoming environment to come to the library and give them an opportunity to make it their own.
So if anyone is not already convinced, do you have any more words of encouragement to share to young adults thinking about joining their library's TAG?
There's so many benefits to joining. You can meet new people, earn community service hours, get involved in your local library, and there's free snacks, at least at mine. You talk about bribery. I always have something for them to eat or snack on at the library. Free snacks. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain by joining. You should just do it.
Abigail, who was on earlier, said her favorite thing was the snacks.
Oh, good. I love that. I love that they love the snacks.
So shifting gears a little bit to talk about YA book boxes, do you have any advice for teens on how to fill out the form to get the best possible box for themselves?
I would say that you should be honest with yourself and your reading preferences. So if you want something with no romance or something with high magical realism and shapeshifter cats, let us know in the form. These boxes are personally curated for you by the amazing staff across PWPL, and the more information they have to work with from your form, the better match they can make. And if you want to feel a bit riskier, this is your chance to try something new, whether it's a new genre or a book or a series in a very low risk environment. Because if you hate it, you haven't lost anything. You just return the book when you're done, and you can enjoy the free snacks. So many free snacks. And they come with really cute accessories that go with the book or the genre that you picked. And there's a survey in the box that you can return along with it. So be honest. Tell us what you think. If teens want to reserve a book box, they can look for the flyers that are in our branches, and they have a QR code that you can scan to go online to the form or to our website. If you go to our website on the Young Adult tab, you can scroll down to the box marked Request a YA Book.
Listeners from our second episode have already heard all about our digital library resources, but focusing just on young adults, what do you think are some of the best resources on the digital library for that age group?
When I worked in a high school, I definitely promoted Hoopla, especially with the ESOL students, because it has such a wide variety of comics and audiobooks, music CDs, books, TV shows, and movies. And every time I went through that entire rant with the kids, their eyes just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and they would whip their phones out and immediately start downloading it. And then I would tell them, oh, but you need a card first. So then we would go through that process. I do like Libby as well because it has its own teen section, and Learning Express Library has free online practice exams. And I had a teen come in recently to the library who wanted feedback on their college admissions essay. And I learned about this resource from my branch manager. Help Now from Brainfuse has a 24-hour writing lab, and you can submit essays and other forms of writing for constructive feedback. And it provides live homework help for kindergarten all the way through college. So I would recommend that a lot to teens that are looking for that extra push or nudge or just any kind of assistance during this upcoming break or as they're approaching finals.
And the digital library, of course, can be accessed 24/7 at pwcva.gov/digital library. While every branch has YA books and other materials, like you mentioned before, as being super important, some have dedicated teen spaces with comfy seating, and they may also have computers, games, ongoing activities, take and makes, etc. These branches are Bull Run, Central, Chin Park, Haymarket, Gainesville, and Montclair libraries. Montclair also has a separate video gaming lounge, which is open to teens and adults as well. Additionally, our maker spaces at Bull Run and Central Library are designed for guests 13 and older. No matter which branch you go to, we hope you feel welcome. Ask staff for YA book or event recommendations, research and homework help resources, and they'll be happy to show you what they have. So I also wanted to highlight some young adult library events on the horizon. Chin Park Library will have their board games and video game consoles out between 2:30 and 4:30 p.m. for winter break and beyond. You can see specific dates on the website. Dungeons & Dragons campaigns for teens and adults await you. To see all your options, including one led by Roseanne for teens at Manassas City Library on January 12th at 2 p.m., check out our online event calendar where you must register to save your spot. Preparing to apply to college? Get in-person FAFSA assistance in both English and Spanish at Manassas City Library on Saturday, January 27th and February 10th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Teens grade 9 and up, and adults too. Do you have what it takes to take on Uncle Edgar's escape room? Registration is required for this event at Chin Park that starts on January 27th, and there's more dates throughout February. Finally, don't forget to sign up for winter reading to earn a prize that will make your winter more cozy. To register for these programs and to find more, visit pwcva.gov/library, click on library events, and you'll find our online events calendar. Thank you so much for answering all my questions.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
If our listeners have questions, we'd love to have them on a future Ask a Librarian episode. Just record your question as an audio file mentioning your first name and home branch and email it to libcommunications@pwcgov.org. The question can be about our YA resources or almost anything else, and I'll do my best to track down an answer for you. I will close us out with a quote from the book referenced in the episode title, Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I think we ought to live happily ever after. Thanks for listening. We're going to be taking a small break for the holidays, but join us in 1 month for the next episode of Important Library Stuff.